Hello, and welcome to We Are What We Search, an analysis of the web experience. My name is Tia Sharps, and in this presentation, we are going to be understanding the web experience and its predictive systems, while also seeing how consumers' behaviors impact and are impacted by these systems, utilizing data collected from some of my classmates and myself. Now, the topics we're going to be covering are the web experience and its predictive systems, my personal web experience data and its analysis, classmate data collection and their analysis, a look into two of the most significant media sites, Netflix and Amazon, a look at consumer behavior within Netflix and Amazon, and finally, my overall thoughts on the web experience. And we are going to begin with the web experience, as this can be defined as a combination of online functionality, information, emotions, cues, stimuli, and products and or services. Now, there are three significant factors that can be described as the building blocks of the web experience. First, there are functionality factors. These factors allow users like us the ease of proper functioning. That includes fast and interactive websites. These factors can be similar to usability and interactivity elements, where usability is all about the ability to find your way around the web, locate desired information, know what to do next, and to do all of this with minimal effort. And there are several components to usability, which include convenience, site navigation, accessibility, site speed, ordering, payment process. The interactivity is all about enhancing the web experience by presenting users with more personalized services and facilitating interactions with other online users that are willing to share their experiences and suggestions. The psychological factors are all about showing customers that companies' websites are credible and trustworthy, as many consumers have fears and doubts about using websites unknown to them. This is where online trust comes into play, because according to the article, influencing the online consumer's behavior, the web experience, 70% of web users are concerned about the safety of their personal information. This is why it is crucial for marketers to understand elements that can both enhance and undermine a consumer's perceptions. Now, there are different elements of online trust that include transaction security, customer data abuse, customer data safety, uncertainty reducing elements, and guarantees and return policies. Now, the final factors are content factors. These can be described as creative and marketing mix related elements of the website. With this set of elements, it can be divided into two categories, aesthetics and marketing mix factors. The aesthetic elements are the primary sources for determining the credibility of a website and attracting the online consumer. These elements influence online shoppers and traditional in-store shoppers in similar ways, which highlight the importance of making sure that these are successful. Now, there are several factors to aesthetics, which include design, presentation quality, design elements, and style and atmosphere. And then we have the marketing mix. This mixture of the 4 P's, place, price, product, and promotion, are essential to the web experience. Aside from those 4 P's, the marketing mix includes other elements such as communication and fulfillment. Now we are going to be focusing on my personal data using the times I stream Netflix. The graph here depicts the day of the month and the combined total of hours and minutes I watch Netflix on those particular days and at any time, both day and night. As you can see here, there are days that I have the most activity and the least. The day with the most amount of Netflix watched was on the 3rd, with a total of about 6 hours and 1 minute. The day with the least amount of Netflix watched was on the 5th, which was at about 53 minutes. In total, my Netflix consumption added to over 28 hours. Now, here's a graph depicting my combined shopping data over the past 2 weeks. I was going to focus solely on Amazon data, but that would have only resulted in 3 data points, which are not a significant amount of data to work with. If you remember the previous graph compared to that one, there is a lot less time spent shopping. We will see in an actual comparison graph in the next slide, but as you can see here, my shopping data did not add up to much, with my total being only at around 1 hour and 30 minutes in these 2 weeks of data collection. Now the graph on this slide here depicts both my streaming and shopping data. Unfortunately, I did not do that much shopping over these 2 weeks. As you can see here, there are many days where I did not do any shopping at all. Now when compared to my streaming data, it is highly insignificant. Now this goes to show that I am someone who, at least during these 2 weeks, focused on streaming rather than shopping. Now it is partly due to the fact that I was recommended a show on Netflix that I got completely enveloped in. Now this goes to show how well their recommendation system works. And here in this next slide, we have a few of my classmates' data on their Netflix consumption during these 2 weeks. Now there is a lot of information here and a lot of colors going on, but from this graph here we can see that the classmate with the initials KK has the longest amount of Netflix consumption. Now to help track the correct data line, I have marked it with a few arrows. Now, it would be easy to think that classmate with the initials KF has the longest Netflix consumption, seeing as how their line reaches the top with about 3 hours done on May 4th. But they only have 4 obvious points on the graph. Now the table in which this data was extracted shows that classmate with the initials MA has used Netflix the most, with about 8 times during these 2 weeks, and KK coming in second with 7 times. In the end, classmate with the initials KK had the longest amount of time on Netflix, with about 12 hours and 42 minutes of time. Now in total, I will use 7 of my classmates' data, but for this graph, it was interesting to see how one classmate did not use Netflix at all during these 2 weeks. Now I was able to calculate the mean, media, and mode for their Netflix data. The average number of times they used Netflix was about 5, or specifically 5.33. Now the mean is also going to be 5, and the mode, the most amount of times Netflix was used, was also 5. So it was pretty even across the board. Then we have Amazon data collection from everyone. Like with the Netflix data, I would think the person with the most data points had the longest amount of usage, but although classmate with the initials GT had the most amount of times, with 17 times shopping with Amazon over these 2 weeks, what makes GT not the one with the longest time allotted was, although they may have had 17 times, they were only in about 5 to 10 minute increments. Now, the person with the longest amount of time is classmate with the initials RY, with about 8 hours and 40 minutes of time spent shopping on Amazon Prime. Now I have marked that data line with a few arrows to help you track it. Here we have all 7 students' data to calculate the mean, median, and mode. The average was surprisingly about 6, or specifically 5.86. The median is 4, and the most amount of times on Amazon used was 4. Now, in the previous slide, Netflix's measures of central tendency were just about even, with 5s in each category. That just goes to show how the use and distribution of Netflix for these classmates was pretty much symmetrical. In this final slide depicting the classmates' data collection over 14 consecutive days, it does not come as a surprise that TV/movie streaming of any kind overtook online shopping. Overall, there was a difference of about 75 hours between the two. There was a combined total of about 130 hours for the classmates streaming, whereas with online shopping, there were only about 60 hours. So as you can see, just as with my own personal data, movie and TV streaming was the #1 choice for many over these weeks. Now we all know Netflix is one of the top streaming services out today, aside from Hulu and Amazon Prime. Now one of the many elements of Netflix that people can either love or hate is its ability to recommend and predict shows or movies you might be interested in viewing. According to Lou Giordano of KM World, Netflix created an algorithm that is tuned via machine learning. Now, this machine learning system received the biggest investment from the Global Fund for AI Research. Netflix has also reported their consumers having short attention spans whenever searching for videos, and they give videos approximately 60 to 90 seconds before moving on to something else. Users' viewing preferences are also taken into account, as that is more predictive than their user ratings. In other words, what people say they like to watch and what they actually watch are two very different things. This is why the predictive system in Netflix is helpful, as consumers' past behaviors are what make the difference between time spent searching and actually watching something. And oddly enough, these recommendations are usually accurate 75% of the time. Cognitive search is what we would call these results that show from the user's past searches. With cognitive search comes some elements of adaptive learning. And adaptive learning can be described as an education technology that can respond to a user's interaction in real time by automatically providing them with individual support. Now, from a Netflix perspective, this would include the possibility of adding an avatar that interacts with users one-on-one, assisting them in their search for something to watch. Now that we have taken a look at Netflix and the various strategies they use for their predictive systems, now we have to look at Amazon and the methods they use to assist customers with their purchasing efforts. According to the article, differentiating the factors that influence consumer behavior to purchase electronics through online, the case on Amazon UK, influencing factors for consumer behavior for purchasing online Amazon UK, that there are 5 stages in the consumer decision-making process. These 5 include problem recognition, information search, evaluation and selection of alternatives, decision implementation, and post-purchase evaluation. Problem recognition is pretty self-explanatory. Consumers recognize the need for the product and the product that will rectify their current problem. Next comes information search, where consumers scour the web for information on their products, such as reviews of the said product. With the evaluation step, consumers look for other sources that have their desired product, as each source has different prices and quality standards. Then there is the implementation of the decision. Here, the consumer decides on which outlet to make their purchase, choosing price over site or vice versa. Finally, we have the post-purchase evaluation, where consumers decide whether they are satisfied with the purchase and will order again, or they are unsatisfied and will not purchase again. If consumers like us have to go through what seems like a lengthy process for one purchase, how does Amazon recommendation system come into play? Amazon's recommendation algorithm is all about enhancing the buyer experience by enabling personalized suggestions, starting from searching for the products to checking out and everything in between. As we can guess, the recommendations are based on a user's purchase history, items in their shopping cart, items they have rated and liked, and what other customers have viewed and purchased. And with approximately 35% of their sales coming from the recommendation system alone, Amazon has realized the importance of investing time, talent, and resources in developing better AI technology, especially deep learning technology, which will make these recommendation systems more efficient. With the online giants being some of the more cutting-edge recommendation systems, how are consumers' behavior being affected by them, and how are recommendation systems being affected by consumers' changing behaviors? Now, both companies' recommendation systems have proved to be successful, as Netflix has saved over $1 billion and Amazon has increased their sales by 29%. Consumers' behaviors are always changing and adapting, and so are their interests. But with these recommendation systems in place, consumers are no longer having to spend hours searching for something new to watch when these options are chosen for them based on their previous preferences. There is much positive feedback that ensued because of these engines, and they are only getting better over time. Netflix's way of improving on their engine was with the implementation of what is known as the Netflix Prize. The Netflix Prize is a contest dedicated to increasing the accuracy of the recommendation algorithm permanently, and the winning teams are awarded a $1 million prize. With the continuous improvement of their recommendation system to give users a more personalized experience, in the second quarter of 2017, the company had a 32.3% year-over-year growth brought about by adding 5.2 million subscribers to its already existing 99 million members in the previous quarter. Now, Amazon is one of the top online realtors out there today with a 37.9 billion in revenue in the second quarter back in 2017. Also, since the development of the DSSTNE, pronounced Destiny, their sales have only increased. Now, Destiny is an AI framework that was created to power Amazon's recommendation system, thus promising consumers a deep learning technology that will enhance speech and object recognition and also search recommendations. In this presentation, we have discussed the web experience and the various factors that it makes up. From functionality to psychological factors to content factors, all of these are the building blocks of the web experience. We discussed Netflix and how unlimited their streaming is from data collected from both my classmates and myself over the course of 2 weeks. With its recommendation algorithms, the implementation of the Netflix Prize contest, and increased revenue and memberships, Netflix has shown what the benefits of personalized content discovery can bring. Then we have Amazon, one of the biggest online realtors. With there being 5 stages of the consumer buying process, having recommended items readily available for consumption has proved highly successful. With 35% of sales coming from the recommendations and the installation of Destiny, it is easy to understand how Amazon has made predicting products more straightforward, where consumers are more likely to click and buy. As we saw with my classmates' data and my own data, recommendation systems are becoming the way of the future, and as time goes on, we will continue to only see improvements. Thank you.